Welcome to another Telltale Books video. I'm Greg, and I'm continuing my Stephen King series. I'm reading a lot of Stephen King this fall. This one is The Crate. We are Telltale Books, bringing you the best in literature, literary topics, and graphic design and bookmaking.
If you want to support us, you can find us on Etsy and Pango, where you can find gently used, rare, and even top quality used books.
And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and maybe even that bell to be notified when new videos go live.
Thanks for joining us.
The Crate is a novelette published by King in Gallery magazine in July of 1979, the same month that The Long Walk was published, although The Long Walk had been written years before. And I imagine King went through it and spruced up the writing before it went to publication. So that's probably what he was working on between November of 78 when The Stand came out and July of 79 when The Long Walk came out. That and writing this story, The Crate, for Gallery magazine. And The Crate ultimately made it into as one of the stories in the movie Creepshow. I think that came out in 1982, and there's a comic book that's associated with that, which also has a comic book, a graphic book version of The Crate in it. But that's not for another 3 years. So the quick synopsis of The Crate is that it's about this crate that's found under some steps. It's been sitting there for a long time. It's marked 1834. A janitor finds it, and the janitor goes and gets a professor that's in the building at the time and asks him what they should do about it, and they decide to open it. Anybody who's a long-time horror reader knows, big mistake. And my quick assessment of it, my quick recommendation, it's a good story. It's worth reading, worth tracking down. Finding Gallery magazine, I was not able to find a copy of it. Not any copy for sale for any price. But it is in Great Tales of Horror and the Supernatural, which is pretty easy to come by and not too expensive to buy on the used market. It was published back in the early 1980s, has an introduction by Stephen King, and it has a lot of great horror stories by a wide variety of authors through the history of horror. The editors are Bill Pronzini, Barry N. Malzberg, and Martin H. Greenberg, three very big names in the genre. And you got things like Rappaccini's Daughter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, Squire Toby's Will by Le Fanu, The Squaw by Bram Stoker, The Valley of the Spiders by H.G. Wells, Pickman's Model by Lovecraft, Yours Truly, Jack the Ripper by Robert Bloch. I mean, this is a really, really great book. These are some of the best horror and supernatural stories ever. And Stephen King is represented by The Crate. Okay, so it's a good story. It's not a top tale. And in this story, like I say, they find this janitor finds this crate, gets a professor. The two of them open it up. The janitor opens it up because he's got a chisel and a hammer he can use to take the top boards off that are nailed into it. And the box is marked that it came back from an Antarctic expedition in 1834. It's been stored there ever since. So the janitor takes part of the boards on the top off, and something pulls him in and eats him. And I mean, completely eats him. There's just blood left. No bones, nothing. So the professor, Dexter, he runs to there's a student I think he is, in the building at the time. He catches him and says, come and look at this, but warns him not to go too close. Well, of course, then this guy, Greenshaw, he does go too close, and he gets pulled in and eaten. So Dexter goes and gets his professor friend Henry, who has an unsatisfying marriage, and tells Henry about it. And so, and Dexter is extremely upset. So Henry drugs Dexter and then leaves a note for his wife that he's at the university and Dexter is in trouble and she should come and help him. And so he goes to the university and waits, and she shows up, and he takes her down and basically shoves her into the box, into the crate, and she gets eaten. And so then he manages to drop the crate, creature, remains and all, into a quarry where it sinks to the bottom, thereby disposing of his wife, who he does not like anymore. Okay. It's very much a classic monster tale. Feels like something from the 50s. It's well written. It's humorous at times. It's creepy at times. It's a very good story. But this is more like, after reading the heavy novels of The Stand and The Long Walk, this is like a palate cleanser. It's kind of light Stephen King. It's not too serious, not too deep. Just kind of a fun, as much as horror stories can be fun, it's just kind of a fun little horror story. But it's good. It's good. I do recommend it for anybody that likes classic horror. This is a good story. I would get it, and I would find a copy, preferably. Like I say, I think this is your best bet. For some reason, it hasn't been collected in any of King's collections, but it is in this book, and there's so many other good stories in here. It's worth tracking this down and getting a hold of a copy and reading through this. This is an awesome, awesome collection of horror stories. So, have you ever read The Crate by Stephen King, his 53rd story? If so, leave your comments in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, my next Stephen King is another novelette titled Crouch End. And in order of publication, I believe Crouch End is like 56, where The Crate was 53, because in between are a couple of other works. Yeah, after The Crate was published in August, The Dead Zone was published. And after The Dead Zone was Big Wheels, A Tale of the Laundry Game. That's actually the next video I've got coming up, although I read that previously as part of my Skeleton Crew read with Samantha. So I've already read that story. I'm not reading it again, but that'll be my next Stephen King video. Will be Big Wheels, A Tale of the Laundry Game, and then comes Crouch End. Sorry about that. And after that comes Way Station, and then Firestarter. Some big Stephen King stories coming up here. Yeah, so Big Wheel, this is 53, Dead Zone was 54. I've already got a video on that. That's the very first Stephen King I ever read. And I've got a video review in my Stephen King playlist. And then 55 is Big Wheels, 56 is Crouch End, 57 is Way Station, 58 is Firestarter. That's the Stephen King I got coming up in the next month. Less than a month. More like, about a month. About the next month. That's what I'm going to be doing for this Stephen King read through. So I am really focusing on Stephen King, mainly because I want to get through to the end of all the Skeleton Crew stories. So I'm pushing to get everything, getting all those stories up and everything else between here and the publication of Skeleton Crew reviewed, it'll take me up to over 100 Stephen King works. So a lot of stuff to do here. Anyway, leave your comments about the crate in the comments section. Coming back for all those great Stephen King story reviews and everything else we do here on Telltale Books. We do a lot of other things. So like, subscribe, come on back. I'll be here doing this stuff.